whether they sold out or not is irrelevant because we're not talking about their later career anyways. But they are a band that if you tell somebody within the punk community, hey, you know this band's got like a kind of pretty punk rock album, I think most people would either not know about it or disagree. And I don't know. I listened to it twice, and I don't see how anybody could listen to this and disagree. It's the Goo Goo Dolls. The album is called Hold Me Up. It came out in 1989.
Was it 89? Oh, I thought it was 90.
November 30th, 1980 freaking 9, dude.
Yeah, man.
This band came out as the result of Operation Ivy breaking up. This was the savior of the punk rock scene.
This was the third album, actually.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Are those also kind of like in the punk realm?
I mean, the first one's super punk.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, and then it gets progressively more and more melodic.
Okay.
Until like 90, like whatever, 5, when they had that song that gets them on the radio and they...
Hey, what's up? I just wanted to let you know that we have a Patreon for the Punk Rock Review, and if you are interested in checking that out, there's a link in the description. There's also a link to my web store and my Discogs for 31 Records. But the Patreon will get you input on the videos. You'll get exclusive content. There's going to be a drawing every month, and there's an exclusive Discord. So if that interests you, check it out. If not, no worries. Thank you for watching this video. Either way, let's get back to it. Well, and they popped off, dude. But like, also, you have 3, maybe 4 albums coming out, and you don't deserve a little success, man. I don't understand. And not only that, but like, don't most punk rockers that you talk to, when you go, hey, what do you listen to? Most of them go, yeah, kind of everything, man. I listen to all kinds of music. I like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of pop, a little bit of jazz. So then how can you tell me that it's weird that a band might take this direction? Like, oh, I made a couple of punk albums. Oh, you know what? We just wrote some songs. They came out really melodic and pretty, and we had some money this time, so we went to a good producer, and bing, bang, boom, we got a nice song, and it's a moderate hit, and boom, there you go, off the races, and people get angry about that. But I see it as kind of an awesome little story.
Yeah, I mean, they have an interesting story too. I mean,
dude, lay it on me.
I mean, I don't really. I had to read a little bit about them earlier today, for this pod. But like, they were signed to Metal Blade Records out of Los Angeles. I noticed that.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and apparently that record did them horribly. Like they went broke from Metal Blade. So they signed a contract with Metal Blade in like 1987, I think, maybe. And they had a 5-album contract with them. So that includes their album up to 1995, by the way. That's the one that got them. But Metal Blade, all their stuff was actually what's the word I'm looking for? Distributed by Warner Brothers.
Okay.
Right? So the label was small, but the reach was big, right? So they were able to go on a lot of big, tours and actually get a lot of notoriety that way.
Grow a fan base.
Yeah, early in their career. But they got like pennies to the dollar on like album sales.
That's crazy.
And they came back from tour with no money all the time, and
man, that sucks, dude.
And then the alcohol and drugs and all that shit combined. That's the whole thing too. But the Goo Goo Dolls, like their first 3 albums were just straight up punk records.
Well, you told me that they sounded kind of like, we were talking about Lawrence Arms, and you were like, yo, the Goo Goo Dolls had an album that sounded kind of like that. And I was like, what? And I think you played a song, or like you requested one or whatever, and I was like, yo, that's crazy. And I it sounded like the Lawrence Arms. And I wrote some stuff down, and one of the things that I wrote down was on the very first song. I think it's called Laughing.
Yeah.
It sounds exactly like if you took the Lawrence Arms music and mixed it with like a little bit of American Steel's vocals. And there's like this really funky bass line through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Dude, that song is a really good like jump off point, because if you like that kind of music, it'll grab you quick and it'll go through the whole record. You go through it, and they slow down a little bit. There's a little bit of what they got going on. You go to bed. There's a little bit of what they got going on later in their career in this album. You can hear hints of it, just kind of like you can hear that with like Rancid and stuff. Love you.
Hi, Rob.
That's not Rob, that's Nitty.
Hi, Nitty.
Hi.
She doesn't have her glasses on.
It's all good.
That's true.
We're both brown too. I get it.
Damn, son.
What are you trying to say? I'm playing.
Nothing. You said it. You didn't try to say anything.
We all look the same. I'm playing.
What, babe?
You talking shit about me?
And he said like, we're both brown, I guess.
Yeah.
She just goes, yeah. Anyways, fucking A, dude. She's the master of like awkward like interruptions. She does it to me, dude. Yes, bro. Anyhow,
I wasn't talking shit for the record.
oh no, dude.
All right.
Nor does she care.
Right, cool.
But like, there's a lot of bands where you can listen to their music and go, oh, here's a good example: the Bouncing Souls. If you listen to their early material, dude, you can hear Gold Record and Anchors Away coming. You can hear it from a mile away. But with the band, you can hear it coming. So I don't understand why anybody would listen to this, like it, and then get pissed later on. I may not listen to the later music, but I don't get pissed. I will say this though. I didn't know that they had these old albums. So when the Goo Goo Dolls broke, I only knew them as their famous stuff.
Yeah.
And I used to clown this band a lot. The guy looked ridiculous. He looked like a lady.
That name song, right, with the acoustic guitar. Remember that one from the '95?
There were so many bad
But you'll
songs
notice on this record, the guy that later in their career that sang all their music, that when they were popular, was not the guy singing these songs. It's a different dude. So Johnny Resnick was the guy who ended up being the lead vocalist later in their career.
Okay.
Who sings all the songs you don't like that Irish song. I'll give up forever to
I hate. Oh, so it's a different guy completely.
It's a different guy. I mean, he was in the band. He played guitar, but he didn't sing.
Interesting.
The guy singing was a different dude. He played bass.
Oh, that should get that guy back on the vocals.
I mean, that's the thing. People love that. Like punks that know about the Goo Goo Dolls are like, yeah, bring back Robbie. Like we don't need like Johnny.
Dang, that's crazy.
Johnny has some good songs on this record though. You'll notice
you can hear him a few. You can hear him a few times.
Yeah,
like, I know I heard him a little bit, but I also knew it was somebody else. I was like, it has to be somebody different because it is incredibly different. But like,
yeah, different dude for sure.
Yeah, it was a good record, and as a matter of fact,
it was fun, right? You liked it. You enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it. I don't know if fun would be the word I'd use to describe it, but I don't know that I would call it unfun either. Fun to me means something different than it means to you, I think.
Got
it. Let's see.
You got some notes?
I got a couple of notes here, but I also wanted to pull up the albums. I wanted to look at because I think it was a pretty quick record. It didn't last a long time.
Yeah, it was pretty short.
Isn't it like 14 songs, 40 minutes, something like that?
Let's see. Shorter than that.
What's that might be the Gaslight one.
Yeah, that's Gaslight Anthem. Let's see. What's the runtime for this record?
Here we go. 14 songs. Son of a bitch, I didn't put it on here. I was just to Google that shit.
It's probably like 35 minutes.
Something like that. What's the album called again?
Hold Me Up.
That's what I thought. Okay, Hold Me Up.
Yeah.
My short-term memory is actually where the problems lie. It's not even the long-term stuff. I can start to remember things long-term, but like if you tell me something 5 minutes later, I'm not gonna remember what it was. What? Which it sucks. Dude, it sucks, bro.
I know, I feel it,
man. Yeah, it was 40 minutes. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, 40 minutes, 14 songs, 40 minutes. Yeah, so the second, or I guess it might be the second song, Just the Way You Are. It sounds like Chicago punk mixed with Gaslight Anthem. It's really strange because it does sound like that to me. It's weird that this band has these sounds early on. There's a great guitar lead in that song. The production as a whole is really good on this record. So out of line, I put we're right back to sounding like the Lawrence Arms. What the fuck? This is so crazy. Like, dude, it's so strange listening to this album. Out of the Red is like Little Richard infused punk rock song with Chuck Berry on lead guitar.
Yeah,
I say anybody should go listen to Out of the Red. It's a really, really good song. It's less than 2 minutes, dude. It's exactly what I want out of a punk rock song. Never Take the Place of Your Man. The music and the lyrics in this one, the music.
That's a cover, by the way.
Is it really?
Prince song. Yeah, it's Prince.
Oh, it's a Prince song?
And the guy singing it is some like old dude. It's like a black dude.
Yeah, it didn't. Okay, so it didn't. Okay, so
it's no one that's even in the band.
I put the music and the lyrics on this one are awesome. The vocals take me a long time to get used to, but ultimately I kind of like it. This album's pretty fantastic. Very strange outcome on this song. Sounds like a completely different band. LOL. I guess because it was a different singer.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have included that. It works. Wait, hold on. Oh, there's something at the end that I thought they should have taken out. Oh, at the end, there's a thing that they do at the end of that song. They should have pulled it out. That song was really long, wasn't it? Let's see.
Was there like a jam session? It's like 3 minutes and 49 seconds.
Maybe I'm thinking about a different song. Anyways, this album sounds like it could be the soundtrack of a movie like High Fidelity. Just indie enough to be cool, accessible enough to move a few units, and punk rock enough to be not really corny at all. It's a very strange mix of like sounds and emotions. I really quite liked it. The song Hey brings us again back to a gritty Chicago punk rock show at Fireside Bowl. The drums are really good in that song, making dancing and pogo and shit all kind of fun. It's got a catchy hook about wanting to make sure you're not wasting your time with a person that doesn't really want to be with you. It's a very good mix of punk and alternative that I don't typically like, honestly. I usually don't like stuff that's this alternative sounding, but this album is really good. On Your Side, it sounds like The Offspring. Go listen to that song again. It sounds like The Offspring.
Yeah.
I can totally hear them playing that song. Again, and that song, more really great bass lines, and the drums stood out to me a little bit.
Yeah.
Throughout this whole album, there was a lot of times where I would hear the bass, and it would just come right through everything. It would just slice right through it, and their bass tone was not distorted at all, which typically I go, I want something a little crunchier. But it was good, man. I think it's because they had a good bass player, and he was competent, but he wasn't cocky. So he was just playing really, really well.
He was great. Yeah. I mean, it's also an 80s album, too. So it's got that 80s production.
That's accurate. That's accurate.
80s production.
Kevin's song is more slower, more emotional. It's more like a pop ballad. It's got some piano, no lyrics. Picks up, sounds like 15 or Crimshine, honestly, to me. But with piano. Not sure if it's just a dedication to this dude Kevin or just an instrumental song or whatever, but it was pretty interesting. Know My Name is probably the second or third best song on the album for me.
I love that song. It's a great song.
Yeah. It sounds so much like the Lawrence Arms that I bet you could convince people that it was the Lawrence Arms. Strong Brendan Kelly vibes on that one. Let's see.
I would say the Lawrence Arms, I would like invert these things you're saying, right? I would be like, the Lawrence Arms sound like the Goo Goo Dolls.
Sure, you can do that if you want to. Go for it. I don't care. This sounds like the Lawrence Arms to me. I heard the Lawrence Arms first. That's why it sounds like the Lawrence Arms to me. I didn't say that these guys were influenced by the Lawrence Arms. I said it sounds like the Lawrence Arms. Quit trying to fuck with me, Nitty.
I'm not fucking with you, man. Jesus Christ.
But I did put on here that it's not as nihilistic with the lyrics, and that's something that's like a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
If you're trying to convince somebody, you're like, this is the Lawrence Arms. Like, it's not shitty enough. I don't think so, man.
Yeah.
Also, what's up with Million Miles Away? Why does everybody cover that fucking song? I mean, it's a good song. So I guess that's fine. Yes. You didn't know that was a cover. Dude, Bullshit Detector has that on their CD coming out.
Who covered? What song is this?
It's
Plim Souls.
Yeah. Plim Souls.
No,
Plim Souls. I can't even say that fucking name. But dude, even the Offspring played that song.
Okay.
Yeah, it's covered by a lot of bands.
Nice.
Very good song though. I mean, I guess that's why it's covered, right? The album closes with a live track 2 days in February. It's an acoustic track, pretty solid, not really my jam. The album's great though. It's got an amalgamation of sounds that I love and people I never knew I'd like at all. This album is great, man. I think I'd probably give it like a 8.2 out of 10.
Yeah, it's a good album. You should go back and listen to the other two that came out before this one.
Only if I can say it sounds like the Lawrence Arms.
You probably like. I mean, you know what you might think it does. They're actually way more like raw. Their first two records. Yeah. They're different.
I really thought you were going to point out their first album when you said to listen to these guys, but there was a third one, and I was like, I'm very interested in what their earlier stuff sounded like. But
yeah, it's the earlier stuff is more like Replacements style, kind of like snotty, kind of like like snotty and angry sounding, punk.
I kind of feel like I need to buy this stuff on CD now, which sucks because I'm running out of space. Look at the cover of their second album, Jed. It's got some redneck dude in a truck driving with a liquor bottle in the seat.
Exactly.
Very irresponsible, guys. Very irresponsible.
Drinking and driving. He's having a good time.
He really is. So what's your overall thoughts on the record?
Well, I mean, I didn't really know the Goo Goo Dolls were a punk band until maybe like a couple of years ago. When people started to point out, like, some of the cool punks were like, oh, the Goo Goo Dolls. Or like, I would read like a review about a band that I liked, like a new band, and they would mention that they were influenced by this band. I'm like, how? This doesn't sound anything like the Goo Goo Dolls. Like, what the fuck? Like, what era of the Goo Goo Dolls are they talking about? So then naturally, because I read this, it kind of, went on my own journey to see what I could find. And I was like, holy shit, the Goo Goo Dolls were a punk band at some point, and like, yeah, I just kind of started to listen to it and like it. This was the album I liked. The one that came after this record in '93 is actually also very, very good too. They get a little more alternative, you know, it's different. But
yeah, A Boy Named Goo has a lot of alternative rock on it.
Yeah, that was the like album after the album,
right
after this one. But no, and then I just started to listen to them, and because I think they kind of echo the Replacements and Husker Du a lot, you know, in their music and their songwriting. It just kind of resonated with me because you can hear that shit all over this record.
Yeah,
at least I can.
Yeah, I mean,
So
look, I'm not gonna say you're wrong because I just didn't hear that stuff. That doesn't mean it's not there.
So
yeah, what were your favorite songs on it?
Favorite songs on this record: "Laughing," "Just the Way You Are," "There You Are," "Know My Name," "On Your Side."
Damn, son.
Hey. I like most of the record. To be honest with you, it's easy to listen to. The songs are short, they're hooky, they're poppy, they're catchy, they're simple. It's kind of everything I look for in like a punk record.
Well,
It's
Laughing, and I think Know Your Name were the two originals that I liked the most. Obviously, I like the Million Miles Away cover.
Yeah.
There was one more that I really liked. I just didn't write it down. No, I can't figure out which one it was. There was a bunch of good songs on here, though. There wasn't anything on here that I thought was outright bad, which is honestly kind of a surprise. I really expected there to be at least a few songs that I thought were terrible. I think there was something that was really short that I thought was kind of unnecessary. It was 22 seconds. I thought that was kind of a stupid addition, but I don't know why they put it on there. So it's their album, you know. But
yeah,
I also don't like intros and outros. So anything that would resemble that, I typically don't really care for. And I don't even know where my beef with the intros outros came from, dude. Like I just realized one day that I hated all that shit, and I don't know why. But
you mean like an intro to an album or to a song?
Either or. I don't like any of that shit. It's stupid.
What does an intro mean exactly? Like a.
You don't know what an intro is, Nitty?
Well, I'm curious. Like, what do you like? What do you mean exactly? Like,
let's say if you have a 2.5 minute long song, and then the first 25 to 30 seconds is like fading in with a piano, and then it goes.
Oh, okay.
And then it goes. Dun 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 dun. That shit is so fucking dumb. Just play the song. Or if you have an album. And okay, as an example, that album that I just dropped on the channel, what was it called? The Plagues, High Crimes and Cheap Lines. The album is like a 9 out of 10. Literally, if it just didn't have the intro and it didn't have the outro, I would have given it a straight up 10. But I fucking hate intros, dude. They're like, because I like lyrics a lot, right?
Yeah.
They're typically lyricless. If it's got lyrics, it's not really an intro. It's a song. It may be a short song, but it's a song.
Yeah.
Intros and outros to me just feel like a waste of time. But the bands create this stuff, so it must mean something to them. So I don't care if a band does it, but they shouldn't care if I tell them I don't like it. You know,
right?
I'm stupid and I'm bad at this stuff, so it is what it is.
Whatever. It's your opinion. It's cool.
I don't know, man. Some people don't agree with that, but yeah, you know, I really enjoyed the album a lot. It was a very big surprise to me. I think it's cool as hell that I can go back and listen to a band like this that I know for a fact that in high school I hated.
Honestly, here's my thing with this band. I don't get, how do you go from this to writing that Iris song, bro? You know, like, how is that even like a natural progression?
Bro, you're the one that told me Selling Out didn't exist.
I don't think that's what it was, though. I think these guys actually
I'm
genuinely like the shit that they were writing somehow. You know?
Sure, maybe. I don't know. I don't really care either because that album. But no, yeah, I also don't really understand that. But it's like I also don't understand why you'd go from the other singer to this guy they have currently. Like I don't understand that at all.
I think his voice has more mass appeal or something.
Well, that's it. Is that they wanted to make some money and call it what you want. You know, if that's what they genuinely wanted, then that's not selling out to me. It's just buying in. You know, do your thing, man. I don't give a shit. But I know a lot of people that would call that selling out, which whatever. I don't give a shit. if you want to make a bunch of money and that's what you want to go do, hopefully you're doing some good with your money. But other than that, I don't really care. Like,
Right.
I think rich people are weird. So, there's that. But rich people probably think punk rock guys are weird. And they're probably right.
Probably right.
Yep. Oh, Goo Goo Dolls. God, I still can't believe that they had an album like this, honestly. It's really strange, dude, because it's a really good fucking punk album.
It is. It is. It's fact this sound of there's a bunch of albums that came out like this in the late 80s, early 90s. There's different bands that had a very similar sound because they were drawing from a lot of the same influences. Because they kind of rode this fine line between like not pure punk band, but also not like alternative, like music.
Well, there was a mix when alternative rock and college radio was starting to get big in the late 80s, before Nirvana and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There was like this weird mixture of bands that were like intellectual and college radio like ish kind of, but they also liked punk. And so they were making this stuff that was like pretty aggressive, but it was also real what's the word I'm looking for here? Like
sophisticated,
real melodic,
Yeah.
It was melodic, but it was aggressive, and this would fall into that camp. Now, there was also a lot of different kinds of that stuff, but there was a lot that sounded like this, where it was very clearly going to head down the alternative rock radio lane once that lane opened up and became available, because I don't think it was really available yet. And so once bands started coming out and getting bigger that had a softer side or a more melodic side or a slower tempo side, whatever you want to call it, they were like, oh, cool, there's our lane we were looking for. We didn't realize we wanted that. When we were 20, we wanted to scream into a microphone, but we're 30 now. We want to play this stuff. That's what we like. This is what we listen to. These are our peers. And,
Right.
I think a lot of that is as much as I don't like Husker Du's music, I can totally understand how they influenced a band like this. It's very clear. The Replacements. I like the Replacements quite a bit, but what I've heard anyways.
So, I mean, these bands were a good, I guess, alternative to what was available. That's why they called it alternative rock, right? Because it was all based on what was available on the radio. Like, you either had like the jock jam, hair metal stuff, or you had like the oldie station or the classic rock, like Zeppelin and fucking all that shit.
It all started with alternative lifestyle. It was all bands that were alternative lifestyle bands. It was bands like Nirvana that were, like Pearl Jam. They were just like, they were alternative lifestyle. It wasn't necessarily just about the music. It had something else that went with it.
Yeah.
And that's why you could have like an alt chic like style, because it was a lifestyle. So I just think that it took a little while for that lane to develop. And once it did, bands like this reside there. And, were these dudes ever going to have like, mohawks and a leather jacket? Almost certainly not. Did one dude in the band have like that? Probably at some point.
Yeah.
So they had, an eclectic group of guys that came in and made music, and they all were friends. And if you had a group, if me and you and let's say me, you, Andrew, and Darren all made a band together, right? All four of us. It would be an eclectic sound, because it would draw from really gnarly lo-fi hardcore stuff that you like to more melodic, poppier street punk, like oi stuff that I'm into. Andrew would bring a bunch of hardcore influences, and Darren has a lot of rock and he's got a very broad palette, but like he brings a lot of rock and roll stuff to the show.
Yeah.
And so like if we had a band, it would probably resemble something like this. Not necessarily these kind of sounds, but it would be real. You'd have some slower stuff, some really chaotic fast stuff, and it would just have to work like that because we're a group of guys and we're wanting to be in a band together.
Totally. And if you saw these guys too, and I think this kind of plays into like why they weren't successful, because appearances and aesthetics are also a part of the whole package in music too, right? I mean, you're watching these guys, so they didn't look cool at all. Like, they had some weird fucked up hair. They looked they kind of wore some like shitty clothes that like didn't quite fit them. So it's like a subculture, right? Like anything else, a counterculture. So people, there was a niche audience of people that gravitated to what.
Well, that's why they got the pretty guy. They were like, we don't look cool, man. Let's get the pretty guy.
I mean, and then now he has like a bunch of plastic surgery and she looks fucking crazy. But like,
he looks like, never mind. It's not nice. I'll shut up.
So Goo Goo Dolls, yeah, that's the band.
It was pretty good, man. I enjoyed it. It was a good pick.